Hello, KFC SuperCoaches. It's a teams podcast for round 24. The teams are in. There's a couple of little shocks in there. Rob Sutherland and Brandon Savage are on the panel today. Rob, I'll start with you. Biggest issue out of the teams for you?
There's nothing really, Tom.
Standard.
Yep.
You're doing that silent treatment thing again?
I gave you an answer. No, like this time of the year, there's not a lot of shocks, is there? It's... I pretty much everything that was announced is what I was expecting. I was pretty good.
Yeah, I was hoping for Mulatalo to get named, and that has happened. I was hoping Tyrone Munro would get named because he's got that matchup against the Dragons. That hasn't happened. So that's probably the biggest news out of the teams. What are your thoughts?
Not a lot from teams, but the number one traded-in player last week, Chance Nickel-Klokstad, I got him in. I wasn't going to get him in, but I caved into the pressure, and... yeah, I'm stuck with a lot of super coaches in the same position now.
Yeah, CNK is going to get traded for me this week. He's out with concussion. Not sure what the Warriors have said about that, but given he's been knocked out a bunch of times this year, you'd think he could be set for a significant rest.
They'll treat it like any other injury. As long as he's symptom-free, he'll play. I mean, that's the message that's going to come out of the club.
Send your questions through on Facebook or YouTube. We'll get to those in a sec. On to the winners from the teams. Tino for us, Mwale. Very popular this week. He's back from suspension. I personally don't see the point in spending money in the forward pack. I think you can make up more ground at centre wing or fullback or halfback or somewhere else.
I agree, which is discomforting. But I would say about Tino that he's got such a good base and such an upside that he could be the forward that you would spend money on. He's a bit like a Fafita, right? And that he's a safe 65. He can go anywhere from there up to 120. So if I had lots of trades and lots of money and, like, say, Drinkwater sitting there and had the jewels to make it work, yeah, I could do it.
I wouldn't be doing it if I have one trade left, but trades are money in the bank. And I think Tohu looks a bit busted, so I'd like that trade.
Yeah, Tohu looks like he's about to break on every single hit-up, but then still scores tries and makes a million tackles. We've got a question from Jacob Thomas asking, is CNK a hold or a sell? Is Nickera a hold or a sell? And is Garrick a sell against the Panthers? Let's start with the final one in Garrick, who, when he moved to fullback, I was really hoping that it would bring out the best in him. It hasn't worked out like that. He's actually scored a lot worse there this year than he has at centre wing.
I'm not selling, but I'm not playing. So I wouldn't play him this week. I don't think it's the matchup not to play him. But there's a couple of reasonable games still to come. So I'll be holding and playing him when the matchup's right.
We've just been told that the stream is not working, so we'll be working on that now to try and get it fixed. On to the winners, other winners from the teams. Payne Haas, Reece Walsh, and all Broncos players. The coach has come out and said he's not going to rest any players. But, of course, they've got that bye next week, so they get an automatic rest anyway. But it is good news to know that Broncos players, if they're fit, will be playing every week from here until the end of the season, except for that bye.
Yeah, the bye is the tricky one. But I think, with Payne Haas and Reece Walsh, they'll both be eyeing for a Daily M. I think Reece Walsh is actually ineligible for it, but Payne Haas in particular, I think he'll want to play big minutes and finish the season strong.
And Jacob Preston, he's back for the Bulldogs, given that the Bulldogs are back from the bye. On to the losers, CNK, we've spoken a fair bit about him. And Cowboys, Scotty Drinkwater, he is up, well, not over $1 million anymore, $951K. But if you had him with the bye this week, would you cash him in?
Yes.
Yes, I said do it last week.
Yep. All right, nice. I love Rob's short answers. He wants a 16-minute podcast.
Got places to be.
Buys, Latrell Mitchell, yes or no, Rob? Maybe just elaborate slightly.
Yeah, it's a yes. It's a yes, but, right, so he's just floated along in 2 games and he's got 72 and 71 or something like that, 72, 74. But he's scary. Looks like he could do anything. This game is obviously a really good matchup with the Dragons, but then the draw's not good. It's, like bye Roosters Broncos or something along those lines, I'm pretty sure. Those aren't matchups that you love. So it's like, yeah, I'd get him in and I really want to play him this week, but I've got some quibbles after that.
I've got a bloke, one of my mates actually, who went to Magic Round, asking a question. He said, I need some non-Magic Round help with my final reserve. Nicarima, Tohu Harris, or the Big Red, Corey Horsburgh. What do you think?
That's tough. Nicarima against the Roosters. Not the easiest matchup, so I'd probably go Horsburgh.
Nicarima at fullback for me. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go to the next buy. Brian, really tempted to bring him in for CNK. Obviously, a lot of people are selling him. So 2-0 looks like the number one prospect for me.
I've been death riding all these popular players, so I'm scared to death ride another popular play again. He's just going over and they're making plays for him. Their right side is the dominant side now.
Yep. The only issue I've got with him, he has scored so many tries in the last sort of 6 weeks that there could be a drought coming up. But with Cleary back in that team on the same side as 2-0, I think it's... And they got a decent run home. It's not a slam dunk run home, but it's good. And the Panthers look like they're going to go for that minor premiership and not rest players.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the backline buy of the week.
Yep. On to Kalen Ponga. Would you spend over $1 million on him?
I think yes, if you got the trades. If you don't have the trades and you can do it, I'd still do it.
Yeah, I mean, not only is he playing well in the field, but like he's kicking goals really well. Like usually when he was lining up goals, you're like, oh well, there's a minus, you know. But he's nailing them from out wide. The draw is really good. The flexibility. You can have him at 5'8", you can have him at fullback. That's really useful. I'd just say one thing that everyone's going to captain him this week, or a lot of people are, last round against the Bulldogs. But that's not the Bulldogs that we were watching 3-4 weeks ago, where 14 of their players are out. This is a much better team. I'm not saying the Knights won't win. They're on the up and the Dogs are where they are. But it's a thing for Ponga.
Yep. One guy that you're really keen on and you keep crowing about is Sean Johnson. I don't own him, but how good was he last week? Back from the bye, a couple of tries, a bunch of assists in there as well. 140-odd points. If you VC'd him, you're pretty happy about it.
Yeah, look, I sent a few notes where I thought he could do better. I haven't had a reply yet, but I'm sure Andrew got my email and we'll pass them on to Sean in due course. But as a SuperCoach thing, yeah, I mean, I had him as a VC. I looped. Have to.
I'm basically locked into Hines and Cleary at halfback, so I can't get him, and it's tough to watch the Warriors at the moment when he takes the field.
It is, and with Chance out, I think he's only going to step up.
Yep, good call.
On that, Chan's out. I saw a couple of people were buying Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. He's quite Chan's dependent, so yes. I would say there's a cautious on that one.
Another guy who you've been crowing about as well, Rob, is Jermaine Asako. And he's another guy that I haven't owned him all year, actually, and I death ride him every week, and he just comes up with the goods every single round.
Three goods. Yeah.
Three goods, yeah, exactly. But, I mean, I still feel like it's chasing points, and I'm waiting for him to crash and burn at some stage, and it just hasn't happened. He's been so consistent.
It is chasing points, I think. He's not quite in the form he was, or the team's not quite in the scoring form that they were in sort of the middle of the season when he was going so well. I think part of that is that Wayne keeps moving their pieces around. You can't have your fullback and your centre and your 5'8" like these interchangeable pieces and expect it doesn't impact the team, and it has. Would I go and buy him? Probably not. The draw's pretty reasonable. I'll probably play him most weeks, though.
We're getting a question from from Michael, asking... Karaz is back and back into solid base stats. What are your thoughts on him as a bit of a pod running home instead of, let's say, Brian Tuo or Jermaine Asako?
I don't love him as a pod. If you got him, I'd be very happy playing him, but I don't think he has the ceiling as the other centre wings, and I think you've got to chase that ceiling.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. The panel looks like a before and after shot of Sangster on the man shake. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Oh, it sucks. It means I'm before.
Let's go, Scotty. Drinkwater's coming through as well. YouTube, what's happening there?
There's not much going on there.
Maybe it's just
the streams paused.
There's someone that says Brandon sounds awesome. The God filter on his voice. Quality choice.
Oh, wow. There we go. We love getting compliments on this show. Onto the holds. Mulatalo. It was up in the air coming into Teams Day, but he has been named. And the word is from David Riccio, our man who has all the Cronulla news, is that it was a concussion picked up at training. And there was we originally thought it was a jaw injury, and I'm sure, there's probably some sort of a relation going on there. But 2 weeks out with that concussion, but back this week.
I'm stunned that one of his teammates would want to punch Ronaldo out at some point. I reckon he would be both a tremendous teammate to have and a really annoying one.
And also on the hold list, I've got Nico Hines, because he does have that big matchup this week. But, of course, Rob, you're death riding him from here.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 100, which is great. And that's Nico Hines is Mr. Reliable 100 points, right? But SJ with 149 was better. I just need that one more week and it's paid off. But there's no shame in holding the guy who's the best scorer. I still think he's got the best score, doesn't he? In the
the best average.
Most points. Yeah.
Definitely got the best average. Yeah. Your thoughts on Hines as a hold?
Oh, obviously holding. I feel like if you got these guys, there's no point going sideways to one another. Plays the Titans this week, which seems like a good matchup, but they've been showing some ticker, and he's never gone over 100 against them.
Yeah, really? All right, that's a good stat. I was kind of thinking of him as a sneaky late captaincy choice if something went pear-shaped for my team, but that could sway me the other way. On the sell list, Mitchell Moses, I'll go to you, Savs. What's the story there?
Oh, I was holding him for last week's matchup, and I was really hoping he'd score well, and I'd be able to go him to Hines. Hines scored too much. Moses scored too little. I can't do the trade. So I've got to hold Moses for the rest of the season. I might go to DCE in the last 2 weeks if I've still got the trade.
Wow, that is actually devastating.
Yeah, it's terrible.
They got that bye coming up in 27 as well. John Bateman, I couldn't get on him, and I'm kind of happy that I didn't, because recently the scores just haven't been there for him.
Yeah, he's that dependable guy who was good for the middle of the year, but probably isn't one that you want to play at the end. It's a weird one that his runs were actually good last week, and that can be the defining point with Bateman, because that's, if he's got the opportunity. But his defence, they just haven't been running at him. It's really weird. The Tigers, that side of the Tigers hasn't been doing the work, and he hasn't been going looking for it.
We'll take some questions off Facebook. Alex Johnson outside Latrell, a decent shout. Did you sell? Yeah. I'll put this to you.
My plan was to go Ramian to Dane Gagai last week, and I was getting a bit of Chan's FOMO, so the only way I could do it was sell Alex Johnston. I've done that, and I think I'm okay with it still. St George have been all right.
Yeah. I mean, almost won last week. We're still in contention for the spoon. I mean, a couple more losses and we could definitely get the spoon. But, I mean, we're showing a little bit of ticker.
Bloody hell. We're clearly at the end of the season. Oh, St George have been all right. Talk about the thinnest of threads to be hanging on to. Let it go, man.
Y is asking Billy Smith, Asako, or 2-0 in for CNK. Billy Smith's an interesting choice. He did have a blinder on the weekend.
He did. I'd go Tupu if I was going to go one of those. He's coming into a bit of form. The Roosters are finishing reasonably, not well, but I'd probably go Tups out of those.
Anything? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd go To'o. Just because...
Oh, was To'o on that list?
Yeah, I think he was.
You probably heard me say To'o as Tupu.
Yeah, right, yeah. I was like, he's gone the Roosters. I like it. Yeah, no, To'o. Put it down, yeah.
On to... Yeah, look, here he is, Brian To'o. Try-scoring beast at
Doesn't
the moment.
Doesn't he look better without the headgear on? I mean, I know NRL physio would be upset, because headgear does prevent you from getting... sort of, what's that, concussions?
Lacerate.
Oh, no,
it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, NRL physio says it does. No, he's confused sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, about headgear. Yeah, he's all for it.
He's going to be writing in saying there's misinformation floating around on the podcast.
Has he been starting the game with the headgear and taking it off? I feel like he has.
I'm not sure.
I haven't seen that, no.
I'm pretty sure there was one game where he did.
Let's go through each game. I hope Rob and Savs have done their homework here. I know Rob absolutely hasn't.
Yes.
So we're going to run through each of the games. At the Sea Eagles, they got the Panthers this weekend. It's at Four Pines Park. Sean Kepi is back into that team. And Ben Trbojevic starts with Tuolangi back to the bench. So that's an interesting move if you're still holding on to Ben Trbojevic as a cheapie from the start of the season. Who's the Supercoach player to talk about in this team?
Sean Kepi. 100%. There is no Manly player more entertaining to watch than Sean Kepi, in that he will commit at least 2 or 3 penalties and errors in a game, And each time he will get up looking confused. He looks a little bit like this guy in the Goonies. You know, there's the evil character in the Goonies. Anyway, Sean Kepi is like the spitting image when he's looking sorry and confused after he gives away a penalty. I'll find it and I'll put it online.
Yeah. You're showing your age there.
Where are we? Ruben Garrick was the only other player that I've legitimate interest, but we've already mentioned I'm sitting him.
Panthers. So no Isaac Tungo. He's not even in the squad at all, which means they're unchanged.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards is the guy I like here. The last matchup versus the Sea Eagles, he scored 4 tries and scored 163. They've got the Titans and Parramatta coming up, and this week against Manly. I think he could replicate it, but he has looked a bit down lately, so maybe he'll come out and...
It looks like he's playing broken to me.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Sharkies v the Titans. They got Mulatalo back at the Sharks. Tom Hazelton, unfortunately, he's my favourite player in the rugby league right now, is out with a concussion. What are your thoughts on the Sharkies? Who's standing out?
Matt Moylan sitting there at 17. That's a confusing interchange selection. Cameron McInnes is going great. That's all right, we'll wait.
Yep.
Cameron McInnes is going really well, playing sort of close to 80 minutes. But he's not particularly exciting, but if you're looking for a dead set 65, 75 guy, he's there. Ronaldo, he owes a lot of us, so let's hope he pays us back.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a big score this week. At the Titans, they got Tino back. No Brimson again. He's been rested again with that rib or abdominal injury.
I like Jaden Campbell.
Yeah?
I like Jaden Campbell at fullback. He's also got the 5'8", but with the stack position, Philip Sammy, he's been going well.
Yep.
I like him.
He has been killing it. At the Broncos, we've got Adam Reynolds back into that team. Of course, they've got the bye next round, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another rest this week. But he has been named. Jesse Arthur's out with a head knock. What's taking your fancy here?
Patrick Carrigan, I believe, having not scored a try for about 4,000 games, he's now scored 2 in 2. Will he score 3 in 3? No, but people will buy him thinking he will.
At the Eels, they've got Deja and Arcee as an interesting choice at centre. And unfortunately, my man Maddo is back to the bench after starting last week. Thoughts on this?
I like Maddo back on the bench. I think just their middles need a bit of shoring up, but the Cardi Party is back.
Yeah, it is indeed. Rabbitohs v the Dragons. Tom Burgess is out suspended. Jai Arrow in a bit of doubt with those back spasms from last week, and no Tyrone Munro, who was looking like a decent play this week against the Dragons. Who's standing out for you?
Oh, this hurts me to say it. Really, I get no pleasure in other people's pain, but Alex Johnston. He's going to be running at Ravalawa, I believe, who is not known for his defensive
Mate,
reads.
try-scoring freak.
Yeah, he scores a lot of tries.
Yeah.
He also does this sort of bolt in from the side without telling his centre that he's coming, and then just stands there looking confused as they go out the back of him and score a try. So, yeah, I think Alex Johnson.
Very true, and it's in Cairns this game as well, which could be a factor with the heat. Dragons, they got Mollo, I'm not sure which one. One of the Mollos is out. Must be Frank Mollo is out, and Sully is back from a calf injury, and no Lomax. He's got a shoulder injury.
Ooh. Well, that hurts Ravalawa, who has scored 145 twice in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, wow.
And he's 630k.
Wow.
He's got a massive ceiling for someone in not a very good team.
Every year you get a crappy winger, right? Goes on a run at the end of the year and starts the season priced at 680k. And people who are new to the game will go, oh, he's pretty good. Must put him in my team. And you're like, no! Anyway,
Remember that great Jack Reed season? Tigers v the Warriors. The Tigers have got Udakamano and Sean Blore back. Charlie Staines is out with a hamstring injury. Thoughts on the Tigers?
dead silence on this one.
That's it. All right, you really need to get going, though. We're 3 minutes over.
What do you want me to say about the Tigers? Nothing.
And then on to the Warriors. CNK is obviously out, so they got the young gun in there at fullback. Anyone else?
I think this does hurt Dallin. I think his ceiling is limited now without Chance in there. I'd be very happy if I was holding forward, if I held forward for this one. And I did for once.
Nice.
Something good.
Roosters v the Dolphins. It's at Allianz Stadium. They're back there after the World Cup. Dylan Napper is in for Nathan Brown. One send-off candidate replaced by another.
One lunatic replaced by a bigger lunatic. Yeah. So that should be entertaining. I reckon we'll all enjoy 3 minutes of Dylan's madness. Yeah. Outside of that, look, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think the back five of the Roosters will score quite a lot. I think the Dolphins will score quite a lot. So I'm not expecting a dour game of football here.
What do you think about people buying Joey Manu this week? He's pretty popular.
He was good last week. He's busy. He's making a lot of runs. He's busting a lot of tackles. I wasn't big on him last week, and I was wrong. So I'll double down because he might as well be consistent. And I'll say no.
He's certainly in my 17 this week. Dolphins, they got Ray Stone back from that hand injury, and Nikorima at fullback named there. What are your thoughts on this Dolphins side?
Oh, Nikorima's been doing too good. Yeah. Still holding on to him, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good hold. Zarko, I wouldn't be buying him, but I like the matchup for Joey Manu on the other side with Valance defending at that left centre.
Yeah, good call there. Onto the Storm, got Hughes and Coates back, so two of their rep stars back into that team, and Remus Smith is lurking in reserves too, so he could come back from that adductor injury. Thoughts on the Storm?
Munster is the one that I'm expecting a big game from here. He hasn't clicked since Origin, not a really big one. I think this week he warms up, and the next 2 weeks, I can't remember the matchups for sure, but the Dragons are one of them, and there's another bad one in there. I'm expecting 100-plus games. I think this one he goes 75-plus.
Yep. The Raiders, we got Sebastian Chris out for the regular season with a hamstring injury. Ethan Strange makes his debut as a centre, and early in the season he'd be a definite cheapie candidate, but probably not right now. Anyone else?
That hurts, doesn't it? Nah, I don't like the Raiders' options. I reckon they'll fall out of the 8. I think the forwards, Tarpanay he's doing really well, so I'd love to be holding on to him, but other than that, even Horsburgh's kind of fallen off a little bit.
Yep. Onto the Knights. Bradman Best out with a groin issue, which is a big blow for them, but they've still got Kalen Ponga in that squad. Thoughts on this team?
Look, I think Best out hurts Marzu. Best is so good at attracting an extra defender, and then sort of, they he either slips it away or the pass goes around him, but he's already drawn that guy in. As I said before, Ponga, it's an issue. I think he's a captaincy choice, but the Dogs are going to be better than gave him credit for. Gagai is the left field centre wing. People are going Toto. If you want to go something different from Toto, I'd consider Gagai. The draw's amazing. Yep,
I don't mind that. And then finally, the Bulldogs. Luke Thompson is back. It's his first game of the year. Anything else standing out for you?
The Bulldogs look a lot better this week than they did the last matchup versus the Knights. So high expectations of Ponga captainers should maybe just lower that expectation a little bit.
We'll take some questions till the end of the show. Fanua, Blake or Tino?
I'd be going Tino after 3 weeks on the Pine. Yeah.
Would you go 2-0 or DWZ? I'd Brian 2-0 there. We've spoken about DWZ. What else have we got? Do you have...
Yeah, Spakakak on YouTube. Garrick, Sione Katoa or Ronaldo this week?
Sione Katoa is playing extremely well. Who was the other one?
Garrick or Ronaldo? Garrick, rule him out.
Yeah,
against the Panthers.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to play Sione Katoa this week, I reckon. Although Mulatalo could come back from injury and kill it.
I like Mulatalo as a pod.
What else have we got on YouTube?
Ian Sapili, Robson to Grant.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
No question. One's on a bye, the other's the best hooker in the game.
Oh,
I'd get around
that's true.
Yeah.
Johnson versus the Tigers as captain this week. What are your thoughts?
I think there are better matchups.
Yeah, Johnson against the Tigers. Oh, SJ.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was looking at between he and Cleary for vice-captaincy choice. And Cleary plays in the first game against Manly. So I think Cleary is hands down the vice-captaincy choice, and I think Ponga is hands down the captaincy choice. I think it's quite for me, it's a straightforward week.
Yeah, it is. And you've got Cleary playing in the first game of the round and Ponga playing in the last game. So it's pretty much a slam dunk option this week. That is it for our team's podcast, round 24. Big thanks to Rob. Big thanks to Savs. And we'll catch you for the Game Day podcast. That is 11 a.m. on Thursday. We'll see you then.